Hello guys, it's Jad here and I'm going to do a review on the film Problem Child. So yes, I'm going to be reviewing the whole Problem Child trilogy, and I will say right now, I really do enjoy the first two of these, but the third one is an absolute abomination. So the third one will definitely be a rant, I'll tell you that right now, but yeah, as for the first one, we'll talk about that now. So this was directed by Dennis Dugan, who this was the first movie he ever directed, and he'd later be known for directing a lot of Adam Sandler movies. And I mean, in my opinion, he's directed some of the best Adam Sandler movies and also some of his worst movies, like Jack and Jill, let's say, he directed, But this is my favourite movie that he's done. So basically the story of this is, you have this kid named Junior, like that's just his name. And, I do kind of think who would name their kid just Junior, but basically like he's been moved around, like, he's like at an orphanage and like he's been returned so many times, and apparently like it started with like his mother just left him on someone's doorstep, because he was so badly behaved and he was just a baby, so So I'm thinking maybe the reason why he's just called Junior is because maybe he was never given a proper name, because his mother dropped him off, when he was a baby. But yeah, he just keeps getting returned so many times, and the nuns complain because they just can't get rid of him. So they ask the guy who works there called Mr. Peabody, who's played by Gilbert Gottfried, to try and get rid of him, and basically so he lies to this couple about Junior and says that he's really well behaved, so that they will adopt him. And the couple are Ben and Flo Healy, who are played by John Ritter and Amy Yasbeck. And yeah, and what's interesting is John Ritter and Amy Yasbeck actually did get married in real life after this movie, and they were married right up until John Ritter's death. And what's interesting, they play a married couple in this, but in the movie, even though they're married, their characters don't really get along very well. So that's kind of interesting that they ended up getting married in real life when, they played that. And it's kind of like in the Laurel and Hardy films, like a lot of the time they didn't get along with their wives, and you just kind of think, well, why on earth are they even married in the first place, So, I mean, Ben just really wants to be a good dad, and take care of the kid, whereas, Flo is just, a bitch and doesn't really care. She just wants to have a kid to fit in with the other, couples that live around there. And, at first, like, she doesn't want to adopt because she says, like, I don't want a second-hand kid, and, like, calling it a second-hand kid is just really horrible. And, and then later, she realizes, they find out that, she's not able to have a kid of her own, and, they go to adopt, and, it turns out they can't, Gilbert Gottfried as Mr. Peabody suggests, Junior, who's 7, and she says, like, oh, 7's rather old, I want people to think that I had him myself, like, who fucking cares? Like, as long as you love him, And I love how, at that point, Gilbert Gottfried, really puts her off wanting a baby, saying, oh, when a little infant, one that cries in the night, and, And I also love, one of the funniest bits that makes me laugh all the time is when, they find out that Flo isn't able to have a baby, and, like, the doctor is showing, like, a prop uterus and showing what's wrong with it, and the prop uterus just keeps falling apart, and, just the sound effects that it makes when it's falling apart are hilarious. Like, sometimes I think just a funny sound effect makes something a lot funnier, and, and I just love the way that the doctor acts as well. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, it's not supposed to do that. And then, after a while, he's like, you know what, it doesn't matter, because you don't have an orange thing, and your green bits are brown, And, Ben's father, Big Ben, and, that John Ritter, yeah, he's also known as Little Ben. So his father is called Big Ben, who's played by Jack Warden, and his father is a really horrible father to him. And, later he becomes a really horrible grandfather when, Junior comes along, and, but he's still very, entertaining, and, Jack Warden plays him very well. And the same with, Amy Yasbeck, she's very unlikable, the character, but, she's still a character that you kind of love to hate, Even, like, Roy, who's supposedly Ben's friend, he's still quite horrible, how he's like, so what, you had to go to the Kid Emporium and buy one, not everyone can make three perfect children like me and my wife, that's just horrible. And, I did find, Junior to be genuinely quite likeable, despite how badly behaved he is, because, I mean, you do kind of you do buy the whole father-son bond between him and Ben, because, I think everyone treats Junior like shit, and everyone treats Ben like shit, and, you do buy that they do genuinely love each other in the movie, and, of course Ben, does get driven insane by the stuff Junior does, and, John Ritter is very funny, at playing when, he goes insane, and, that one bit, him and Flo try to return him back to the orphanage until they find out that he's been returned 30 times, and he's like, 30 times? My God, this is a human being we're talking about, so he tries to give him another go, and, and another thing is, like, Junior, like, idolizes this killer who's in jail, who's played by Michael Richards, who's called the Bowtie Killer, and then there's a bit later where, him and Flo have been Junior and Flo have been taken by the Bowtie Killer, and at first, Ben is happy about it until he finds that Junior, like, saved this prune that he gave him, and, he realised at that point that Junior really did love him, so, he goes to his father to get the money to give to the killer to get him back, and I do find it very funny how, at first Junior really idolises this killer, the Bowtie Killer, played by Michael Richards, who's of course known for Kramer in the show Seinfeld, and, he idolises him because he saw, like, a news thing where he said, I'm not a bad guy, I'm just misunderstood, and I love how when, like, Flo sees the picture of Junior, he's wearing the bow tie, and she thinks it's really cute that he wears a bow tie, but he actually wears it because his hero, who's a killer, wears a bow tie, I just find that very funny. And, after, he goes on, like, a joyride with the Bowtie Killer, after that, he realises that that killer isn't, I think his real name is Martin, the character. He realises he's not a very nice person, and, Junior does, and he realises, that Ben is the person, who he should really see as a father figure, which, is very nice. I mean, it's a very, quite mean-spirited film, but, the father-son bond is genuinely quite nice and believable, As for, like, the main kid, Junior, the child actor is called Michael Oliver, and, I find he's very good at playing obnoxious, like, you're very good at being obnoxious to the other characters, but not obnoxious to the audience, or at least not to me, because, the movie has some very bad reviews, so, I guess some audiences would find him very annoying, but, I do find him very funny and very charming. Like, I love, like, in the orphanage, because, like, the main nun is quite horrible to him, and, she makes him clean the dishes, and she said, it's like, I want them so clean that I can see my face in them, and he holds up a really dirty one and says, this one kind of looks like you, and, stuff like that. And I love also when he does an impression of Gilbert Gottfried, when he's like, maybe what the child is trying to say is, and then he's like, maybe if I shrug my shoulders and move my hands around like this, maybe people think I know what I'm talking about, So overall, I mean, I love this movie. I mean, I like the second one as well, but the first one is definitely my favourite, so yeah, definitely look out for my review of the second one, and yeah, bye.